Thank you, Roisin. My name is Stephen Murphy, and my background is more property development and delivering capital projects, capital healthcare projects. So my talk will be more about, I suppose, the practical implementation of the process to enhance green space in healthcare locations, and the best way we can do that. It strikes me that when you fly westwards across Ireland, coming from more eastern countries, how green the land is below compared to the brown fields below. So we're very lucky to have a very temperate climate where you can almost grow anything. The HSE is the largest property owner in the state. The national estate comprises 4,400 properties spread over 2,626 locations. So there's huge opportunities to improve a vast amount of green space, and you have to ask, how are we currently doing? To start with, when it comes to enhancing the green space for the benefit of the health and well-being of patients and staff in particular, as well as protecting and improving biodiversity. The term green therapy is an umbrella term for nature-based approaches to healing. These can be physical or mental. Like for me, there are times, and for everybody as well here, that you have that feeling that all is well in the world, everything is perfect, you're in a state of flow, you're in the groove. And when you're feeling that way, you feel like, nothing is a problem and you can do anything. So this would happen to me, and I'd say a lot of others more often when I'm moving in nature, whether it's in the water, on the water, on a mountain, or picking spuds in my garden. So, we have to relate then to patients coming into our healthcare setting. How does the environment within the healthcare setting make them feel, and how can we improve that going forward? The HSE Climate Action Strategy was launched in the middle of last year, and it has clearly stated objectives in relation to how we treat the green space. Primarily, develop a HSE green space framework and supporting implementation plan to optimize the use of green space for the promotion of the health and well-being of patients, staff, and the local communities. So it's patient-centric, number one. And the third objective is to protect and enhance biodiversity in each location. So how are we doing that, or how have we started our process? Essentially, there's three main, I suppose, areas of focus. The first one being the 15 pilot sites. We're working in conjunction with landscape designers from BDP. We're looking at 15 pilot sites across the country, which would represent a range of different types of facilities in terms of healthcare. In addition to that, we will take the learnings from the 15 pilot sites to develop a how-to guide for other hospitals who want to enhance their green space. And essentially that will be a stage-by-stage process in which they can follow a plan to make that happen on their sites. And thirdly, it's important as well for the future healthcare estate. We're critically looking at how we employ design teams and the scope of services in terms of the importance of the green space, and to ensure that it's a central part of future designs where a patient-centric and staff-centric approach is taken. And in the main, without, I suppose, having it in the scope of work for your design teams, it would be more hit and miss. So what we want to ensure in the future is that we reach exemplar standards in terms of treatment of the green space in all healthcare locations. So where are we currently on the plan? We're at stage 5, where we have completed the initial appraisal of 15 sites. And the initial appraisal is really a helicopter view, looking at the site, looking at all the opportunities and restrictions, engaging with stakeholders to ensure we can come up with the best plan to enhance the green space for the benefit of patients and staff. So the key next steps would be, practically further collaboration with all stakeholders. So we have to ensure that that plan ties in with the controlled development plan for the site. Plus, we have to ensure that it maximizes the potential benefit for patients, essentially, and staff. To deliver that, we have to use the expertise of a panel of landscape designers and contractors, so that for the 15 pilot sites and future sites, hospitals can tap into that framework through mini competition. And essentially, the future funding options for development of green spaces really depends on the, how big our ambition is. And the model ideally will be such that we can scale up or scale down as required. Just by way of example, one of the pilot sites is St. Fintan's in Portlaoise. Now, this is a 40-acre site with parkland, agricultural land, some orchards. Primarily, it's a site for the care of patients with mental health needs. So this is just an example of one page from the appraisal report. Each report for the 15 sites is approximately 16 to 18 pages. But this would be one of the summary pages, which outlines short-term and maybe more longer-term future works that can be carried out. So we will go back to each individual location, have further collaboration and talks to make sure we progress the ones that they want to execute. This is just a picture of a recent tree planting and hedge planting day in St. Fintan's, where it's a hospital with that's a great example, I suppose, of stakeholder engagement and local collaboration. In that, on that day, there was staff members, patients, people from the Parks Department of the County Council, people from the local Tidy Towns competition, and it was a case of everyone just mucking in together. But the one thing that struck me was the enjoyment and the engagement of the patients in particular. And the thing I like about this photograph is more the fact you can't really differentiate between the patients and other people as such. So essentially, I think the more locations you have, or the more complex a project, the more you have to simplify and make sure you have the right setup and framework to drive it on. I think we're lucky in that we obviously have no shortage of greenfield sites. We've a clear plan as such, or clear objectives. There's plenty of energy and kind of engagement on the ground, so it's just a case of bringing the elements together, and when locations come to us looking for advice or funding, it's sometimes, just telling them to go back and further develop their thoughts in relation to what they want and why, so it has to be stakeholder led, in that the people on the ground know their patients the best. Plus, a lot of it is just getting that out of them. So in effect, they form or put together their own brief that we can go out to the experts then, within a mini competition. And my experience to date is, once you have top-down leadership, in particular if the general manager of the location is interested, other people will follow. Thank you. That's all I have.